sad day in Soonerland. I'm Barry Tramel along with Ryan Aber, the OU writer, and we are here at Hard Rock Stadium in Miami Gardens, Florida, where on Saturday night the Sooners fall to Alabama 45-34 in the Orange Bowl, the national semifinals. 45-34 sounds like an interesting game, and it was. It was also 28-0 Alabama at one time, Ryan, so this was a very strange game. Sooners made a nice comeback, but never really threatened the Crimson Tide.
Yeah, it was the shootout that we all thought it would be, but it wasn't how we thought it would go because Oklahoma took a long time to get that offense going. They did pull within, was 11 points 3 times in the second half, but on each of those first two, Alabama came right back and answered. So Oklahoma never really felt truly back in the game as far as threatening to win this thing. But it was interesting with Oklahoma's defense struggled. We expected Oklahoma's defense to struggle, and Kyler Murray, after the rough start, was sensational in the second half, but just not quite enough.
Yeah, two things really. The slow start really doomed the Sooners. I mean, the offense fails to score its first 3 times it had the ball. Alabama scores the first 4 times it has the ball. That's how you get to 28-0. But then also that the OU defense just couldn't stop anything. I mean, not just the failure to stop, 2 stops all day for Alabama, no turnovers, 2 punts, but also just the efficiency of Bama. You mentioned Alabama scoring right down the field after getting cut to 11. They didn't even face third downs on either one of those scoring possessions. So this is a case of clearly Alabama was the better team. The Sooners made it interesting, but that defense just wasn't, championship caliber.
Yeah, not at all. Tua Tagovailoa carved them up from the start, and really early on, Alabama started throwing out some different stuff out there offensively. They used Jalen Hurts in some different ways. I'm sure some of that was to give Clemson something to think about, but also just nothing that they did could be stopped by Oklahoma's defense. We expected that. Josh Jacobs from Tulsa said that he wanted to prove something to people back in Oklahoma with this game, and he certainly did that. A fantastic night for him, both running the ball and catching the ball out of the backfield. And yet again, an indication of how far this defense is away from being championship caliber.
And, of course, now we don't know what the offense holds with Kyler Murray almost surely gone to either the Major League Baseball or to the NFL. But he was great tonight. He ran for his life, but he got over 100 yards rushing, ended up less efficient throwing than usual, just barely 50%, but over 300 yards. All in all, the offense did what you would hope it would do. You put up 34 on Alabama, it's a good night. It's a good night. But, that defense just couldn't get it done.
Yeah, no, they couldn't at all. Oklahoma's offense didn't have Marquise Brown. I thought Charleston Rambo stepped in and played well for him in the second half, especially just a phenomenal touchdown play that he had there in the second half. But, Kyler Murray was scrambling around that offensive line. As good as it was, as good as it has been all year, Quinnen Williams and that Alabama defensive line just made them work for everything, especially on the ground. And like you said, Oklahoma's defense just couldn't offer up enough resistance. Their secondary struggled. Their linebackers struggled to contain. Their defensive line, as they have all year, failed to get pressure very much on Tua Tagovailoa. And Tua completely took advantage of it. A phenomenal game from him. What was he, 24 for 27, I think. So didn't have to work much for the numbers that he put up.